Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Find a Way podcast with Dusty. This is the oh gosh, first first one since it felt like I got hit with a ton of bricks. You know, I've prepared so much on this loose skin journey where I knew mentally that would be tough. It's what I researched. I've talked about the extensiveness of being prepared. A lot of my episodes are about being mentally prepared. And I was mentally prepared for waiting. 6 to 8 weeks. It's been tough not being able to pick up my kids. It's like there's formidable months, especially with my 16-month-old and what he's used to. And I was just hoping that in the 6 weeks, 2 months, that I wouldn't be in a position where he would get acclimated to me not being able to pick him up when he's hurt. And I've got a boy, a fully charged, testosterone-filled boy that just is so different than his sister, and that it's like, did you just slip again? The fourth time in an hour. Like, how are you tripping on your own foot? Like, he falls, not a excessively crazy amount, but like he's a rambunctious little toddler, and he gets hurt. Last night he was walking off the deck, and he stepped off, took an additional step, and he fell, but he hit his chin. No marks, thankfully. But just another one where he immediately cries, but he's acclimated now to where his dad's not going to come pick him up. He's got to wait for mom while dad just sits there in comfort. And so it's experiences that I'm having now that I was really hoping for and I was preparing for mentally that I wouldn't have to experience, and I am. And my week 8 appointment was this past Thursday. And I think I had put a lot of hope in that week 8 appointment that I would be able to sign off on this. Sign off on like, okay, this season's done. This step is done. It's now time for the next. And I think everything about that appointment felt like it was my second week after surgery. I mean, talking about timetables and when things can get back to normal, and concerns like a pin-sized hole on the left-hand side of my stitch abscess just showed up 2 days before, and I'm into the second month. That thing didn't show up until the second month. So you're prepared to be free and clear and to be done, but then what? An issue. And then the stitch abscess, in which the month before I saw the surgeon, that should be healed in 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, I'll bear it, but that'll fall right in line with 6 to 8 weeks. And okay, and 2 days before, same day I'm discovering a pin-sized hole, all of a sudden, it's just not healing. It's like deja vu, like the exact same steps and process that I do every morning. It looks exactly the same. So it's like I'm doing everything that I can and need to. I'm not deterring. I'm not, you're responsible for your healing and you're obviously not doing something. I've taken a hard look and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But the body's just not healing. It's just not doing. And it just hit me with a ton of bricks. Just try to be forthcoming on the day-to-day on Instagram. And for a lot of you that see kind of good morning, happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday, kind of go over what's going on and what's new. I have some sort of grasp or control or understanding that things are going to work out and that I'm going to be okay. But then with week 8's appointment, when she looked at the stitch abscess, she just had a little bit of a concern look of, keep me updated on that, send me pictures, send me things that show the status of it so I can kind of gauge what needs to be done. Do you need to come back in for a re-incision, which threw me for a loop as well. But keep an eye on it. And I said, oh, okay, well, this stitch abscess, how long is it? 2 to 3 weeks. It was like I had not even had a 1 month appointment. It was a 2 or 3 week timetable again that it should heal. And then I'm like, well, I probably can't lift because I still have this stitch abscess. And she goes, yeah, you shouldn't lift until that thing is completely closed. And so it's almost like I'm not even given a timetable of like, hey, on this day you can lift. No, it's when it heals. And I have no control over that. And it's like, so I have no control over being able to turn things around. And so when I did a 2-month update on Instagram, just kind of threw all that out there and laid it out. And I think ever since posting that, I've had a lot of scheduled posts. And so if you see something on my page, oftentimes, let's say 8 out of 10 posts are scheduled, meaning at some point I record it and then I schedule it for a future date. So there's a consistent release of something. And so I had released that 2-month update, and I just needed to disconnect. Just at this point, I didn't know if I was going to be okay, because I really wasn't given a sign off that everything's looking the way it's supposed to be looking. I just wasn't given that. And so it reminds me, to be honest, the first 2.5 years of my journey of losing 300 pounds, which it took 2.5 years, me losing it, you won't see that. You won't be able to go to Instagram and scroll all the way back to kind of see what my process and progress was, what my weekly weigh-ins were. You won't see any of it because I know me, in that unless I know that I'm going to do it and be successful, I'm oftentimes not going to be vulnerable to share, because how embarrassing in my eyes would that be if I tried it and it didn't work? It'd be a terrible perception. Obviously that was a false perception, but that's me. That's the insecurity that I've got. That's the issue that I've got, that unless I know I can do it, I'm not going to share it. And so the first 2.5 years of my journey, just won't see it on social media. You won't see anything about, okay, here's my weekly weigh-in. I've only lost 2 pounds this week, but we're staying consistent. You just won't see any of that. I lost the weight and then started an Instagram account and then started posting and sharing about the victories and the setbacks and everything. Like, I had to wait until I made it, until I shared it. And so that's where I find myself in, is that I am working to be transparent, to share, but I'm really uncomfortable sharing where I'm at if I don't know I'm going to be okay. And that's where I've got competing voices that it's worked out before, so it's going to work out again. But then, no, I don't know, and so I don't want to share. And so that's kind of where things are at. I'm about to get on a mandatory Monday story and just say good morning. And so if you see that, you know that I recorded this right before that. But I think I need to jump into what Instagram has, Instagram, social media in general, has become, posting for inspiration, motivation. It is. The fact that, the messages that I get of helping others on their journey is just incredibly rewarding on my end. But Instagram has become accountability for me as well. And it's something that I didn't plan on. But it's almost like that. Hopefully you all know me long enough for me to share that it's like I have this longing to share, and it's almost like I have to share. And that have to share has kind of a two-face, in that I get to share, what I've done and the accomplishments that I've made, and just kind of make a timeline of memories but then also it's infused with being able to inspire, motivate, relate with others that are on the journey, to show them it's possible, but then also draw me in to that. There's a community that I've got to show that it's possible, because it's like, because I've already shared so much, I've given the perception, or I've given that show that you got to find a way, that you got to push through, that it is possible. So it's almost like there's this back end kind of subconscious like responsibility to make it through and to push it through. And I think that's what sharing on social media has done. It's not intended. It's not something that you know what, I'm going to join social media so that way I feel compelled to continue keeping on and showing folks to find a way. I've got to show folks how to find a way. I didn't sign up for that, but I'm at that point now where it's almost like I'm carrying on those messages of folks that said, hey, I saw you do it, so I'm doing it. Or I've seen you go through it, and so I feel that I can go through it because you did. And it's almost like there's this carried responsibility that I got to keep showing up so that I don't fail that standard. Like I've set a standard of things. I can't set a standard of I can't do it, or there's no way. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's where I'm at. I gotta find a way. I guess I'll end with this to just kind of leave you with maybe some encouragement that there's nothing I can do about this healing and about this process of getting back to lifting and holding my kids. There's nothing I can do. And if there's nothing I can do, I just gotta let it go. Just gotta wake up, do what I'm supposed to do, and just continue on. There's nothing I can do. If you're on your journey of weight loss or strength training or whatever, you're doing what you need to be doing and nothing's happening, and there's nothing you can do, just go on autopilot for a little bit. You know, that probably speaks to a larger point in your journey, I would say, is why does it take 2.5 years to lose weight, no matter how much weight, whether it's 300 or 30 pounds? Why does it take 2.5 years? Because you've got to be able to train your body, your system, your mental processes, your mental step forwards, your mental how do I do this. You've got to take that long to process all that to get into a position where it's autopilot. It's autopilot that I go to the gym. It's autopilot that I focus on high protein. It's autopilot that I minimize added sugar. It's autopilot that I eat at this time, or I get this on this menu, or I eat here when we're doing this, or it's autopilot when I know that I'm retaining water because of stress. Like, it's all autopilot. It's all something that is. And so that's why you got to get into the trenches the first 2.5 years. I know you've maybe lost the weight and you're keeping it off and you've done it for 6 months, but that's not long enough. The same system, the same process, the same everything, 2.5 years minimum. Or 0 point, and I've done an episode on this podcast about it, every day is 0.1%. Get to 100%. And it will become autopilot for you to take care of yourself, because you've now spent 2.5 years doing the same process that it's automatic for you to go to. And so for you, if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing and nothing's happening, you may need to go into autopilot. Just keep showing up. Don't expect anything. Don't have high hopes. Don't have expectations. Just continue to show up. And the hope is it works out. I'm going into autopilot. I'm going to just keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Just going to keep showing up, but I don't have an expectation. I don't have really anything. When will I be able to lift? I don't know. When can I pick up my kids? As hurtful as it is, I don't know. But I can't, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do. Can get on my knees on the floor and hug them, not lift, but hug them, and go out of my way to do certain things to show affection to them and make sure that they know that their dad is there, even though he can't physically hold them. So there's adjustments that I can make, but there's nothing I can do. So, autopilot engaged. And a year from now, when I'm doing a triathlon, I'll probably look back and maybe listen to this episode and go, man, you were in a pit. Yet little did you know, you were 1 week away from being good to go. Oh my gosh. But, yeah, autopilot engaged. But I'll say this, I'll end with this, and we're 16 minutes in, about 15, 16 minutes. I will say this, that when I get the clearance, when I get the go-ahead, man, we're gonna push. We're gonna push. We're gonna get to a place we haven't gone before physically. I've gotten there physically before, but I feel so compelled. It's almost like this competition of the complacent you can't into what I could potentially do. I still have my chest, so there's only a limited amount of time. If I am able to raise the funds on GoFundMe and have the surgery, say in January, I'm going to have some downtime again. But in between that and now and when I get cleared, if I get cleared up until that point, I'm going to do everything that I can to get in the best shape of my life. And then when the chest area is done, when the fleur-de-lis or the appendectomy area is done, healed, and we have clearance for full speed ahead, we'll have some comparative pictures, because I've got plenty of pictures of this whole process, of this journey, a daily wake up of what it looks like. And I just imagine 2 years from now, that reflective, this is where I was and this is where I am. So man, I gotta be cooking something. I've gotta be cooking something. So the push is coming, and if you want to push with me, I'll be pushing as soon as I'm cleared. But thanks for listening to this episode. Hopefully you're encouraged on your journey. And if there's nothing you can do, go on autopilot. Just keep showing up. Don't put expectations, and just keep showing up. Something's got to change. If you're not in that position where you have autopilot, whatever system or process that you're in now, that you're building, that you've lost weight, that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, know that you have to show up. You're in that have to phase, not feelings, not emotion, but you have to show up, because you have to get to an autopilotable stage that when things get tough, even if you don't have skin surgery, something happens in your life, maybe it's a passing of the family where you got to be out of town, or emotions or stress drive you, any number of things. Whatever those things are, you've got to have an autopilot that takes care of you. And you've got to be able to go to what takes care of you, rather than just diving into the binge eating or emotional eating or stress eating or not caring. You've almost got to subconsciously care without, hopefully that connects. But thanks for tuning into this particular episode, and talk to you on the next one. Take care.